Have you ever felt the energy all around you, or a sensation that's typically not there, and thought to yourself, what is going on? Well, lucky for you, in this show, Master Your Energy, we're going to dive deep and explore the energy going around in the cosmos and how it might be impacting us here on Earth. And also, each episode, you'll gain new tools, perspectives, and ways to connect deeper and deeper with your own energy. And of course, I'm your host, Sara Wong. After 15 years in being in a corporate environment, I decided to dive deeper into my own energy. And over the last 10 years, I've studied things including emotional intelligence, quantum physics. I also became a Reiki master. And specifically speaking, over the last 4 years, I opened my own business and have served thousands of clients in understanding and healing their own energy. As your guide, I'm honored to be here with you today. And we are in the third week of March. How are you doing today? I'm Sara Wong, and so grateful to be here live with you on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. And I'm not going to let you all be left behind. I know we sprung forward for us in the Western Hemisphere. It is a springtime all around us. And this past weekend, we got the gift of springing forward. And I don't know about me or you, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I feel like I'm an hour behind. I'm still catching up. And, this type of energy for all of us is allowing us to recalibrate and ask us, where does our energy really need to be? And not only that, but we are in the final energy of Pisces season. Pisces is known as the last zodiac of 2020, and we have the last few days of it this week, right before we move into Aries season, which happens right with the equinox. And the equinox is a time where light and dark are both equivalent on the same day. Dark and night, dark and night. See, this is the spring forward. It's like, oh, let's go forward. Oh, wait, hold on, go backwards a little bit. You mean light and dark and maybe day and night? Yes, that is the equinox energy. And that energy is here to, hey, slow us down and say, where do you want to put your energy? It's a neutral energy. It's a reset. And when we have these opportunities to check in and tune into the energy around us, it is an opportunity to reset our own energy. And not only that, we're in a time of transition, change. We're finding a new rhythm, momentum, life in a pandemic, life after many unknowns and uncertainties. It feels like collectively we're moving forward in different ways each and every day. And so the spring forward is that invitation to go forward and also slow down, because sometimes when we run too fast, we misstep, or maybe we run in the direction that we think we need to be, and it leads us to a stopping point or a point of recalibration. So again, how this energy finds us is very different across the spectrum. But what I will say is we're in a very interesting space, and we've been here for quite some time. And the space I'm talking about is the energy of technology and how we live every single day. This pandemic has introduced Zoom to probably every single person's life in some way, shape, or form, and has allowed us to start immersing technology into our lives even more, even at times depending on it. And now that we're finding a new rhythm of moving forward in this reality we're in, we're having to find ways to balance the technology and the actual interaction. But not only that, in terms of communication, technology is also an innovation that's all around us. It's helping drive us forward in different ways. And I actually come from a background of technology, having worked at many companies that had really been centered in the foundation of technology, from Microsoft to Yahoo and many others. And In having that type of experience, I was able to build a relationship with technology during a time when video was brand new to the internet. Virtual reality, augmented reality was just starting, holographic technology. And I was able to see proof points on how it could support us in the medical field in understanding our own energy. And I feel right now, one of the new beginnings that's all around us is finding ways to use technology to inform us, to support us, and to allow us to expand into new ways. And so today's show is really inviting us to explore technology and how it could serve us from an energetic standpoint on how we live life every single day. So, who better than to bring on this show, but someone who is super well versed in energy and technology is my dear friend Jamie. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to today's guest. If you're just tuning in, this is Sara Wong, host of Master Your Energy here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And you can catch me here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. to explore the energy around us and talk to like-minded individuals to share their wisdom and experience working with energy in many different ways. Today's guest, Jamie Nelson, is no stranger to energy. Jamie's been working with energy and technology for over 20 years. She also owned an anti-aging clinic in New York. Now that she lives on the West Coast, she uses her platform to expose the vast healing power that energy can have on the mind, body, and spirit. Today, we're exploring all things energy technology and what it's required to shift into a new frequency aligned to our overall goals and health. Let's dive in. Hi, Jamie. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Jamie, as I mentioned, the energy right now is very transformative, and we're truly at a new beginning in so many ways. And personally speaking, I know you have had a journey not only with your professional life and technology within the medical industry, but also in your personal life. So I felt like you would be a very relevant guest to have on today's show to introduce your journey in how you've leveraged technology to support you in healing and also professionally. So, with that, let's have you take the mic.
No, Sarah, thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here with you. My background that I became really passionate about for about 20 years was using energy for an anti-aging, for people that wanted to maybe shrink a wrinkle or reduce a fat size, and doing that without temporary toxic fixes. Doing that with heat, with radio frequency, and with specific coherent light. And there's a beautiful way that's organic and non-invasive that we can remove sun damage, that we can tighten the skin, and doing that without toxins. And so over many years, I became so passionate about educating people that they could do that actually was an option. And I did had some health challenges myself from some tick bites. And ticks carry a lot of pathogens and parasites, similar to COVID. You know, some of them can be very dangerous. And instead of going the traditional route, I decided to get in a hyperthermia chamber. And there are lots of advanced modalities that you can use for healing outside the United States, but now making its way into the US. So I am excited that we have a tool now where we can tune our own instrument. We actually can use energy to tune our own cells and realign our own systems, and do that in a way from home. I'm actually wearing the tool right here myself.
So before we get into that tool, I would love to hear, when you were diagnosed or informed you had some type of illness that was affecting your system, what were some of the considerations that you had to really reevaluate in your day-to-day life, and what led you to, using non-traditional therapy to heal yourself?
Yeah, when you're bit by a tick or have any other infection, the longer that infection is in your body, the more complicated it is. And so it was probably many years before I learned that I had multiple infections. And so I really had to open my mind and look at not just functional medicine in the Western setting, but also what tools are available for us. And meditation, of course, got me through a lot of it. But getting in the chambers and working with a frequency healer is really the reason I'm here today. I like to help people understand that there are ways about going about these infections that don't include, heavy intravenous antibiotics. I, of course, went down that road, but until I realized that there was more progressive ways of healing. And so just being grounded and having the ability to say no to doctors and to do your own research and look at what they're doing outside of the United States. And that can really fuel your motivation and make you just stay on your own path and control your mind, control your body. And the more tools that we have to assist that, it just makes you stronger, right? If you can do it yourself and you can ground into the earth energies on your own, then you're on a path to healing. But if you can do that now and utilize other modalities that we have available to us, you can speed up that healing.
Yeah, definitely. So, before you decided to go that route, what were some symptoms you were facing that the pharmaceuticals after a while weren't necessarily solving? And, what really awakened you to wanting to go deeper into your own healing journey?
Yeah, I think just it feels like the definition of insanity after a while, right? Doing the same thing over and over. Before I was selling lasers, I was actually selling pharmaceuticals, and being a part of that industry in this country was really eye-opening. Respecting the advancements, of course, we have synthetic drugs that help a variety of conditions. But especially here, we're too quick to jump to those medicines. And so for me to be exposed to that at a very young age, and then learn that my health was deteriorating probably mid 30s, I was able to step back and say, what are the Eastern methods that are using? What are they doing in Germany? And what are they doing outside of what looks like my only option right here? And embracing functional medicine, I think, is so important in this country. When you go to see a general physician, you really just get 101 care. And there are some brilliant doctors that just want to step outside of what they were taught in medical school and research modalities that are available to them, but also just tapping back into ancient wisdom, tapping back into plant therapy and mushrooms and really just connecting to the earth in that way. There are MDs in our country that you can find that they don't poo-poo that therapy. It's in fact very important. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was fairly young, and in hindsight, the Eastern methods that she used in combination with the Western methods is probably why she's here today. So she definitely gave me inspiration, but also just connecting with a doctor that respects what you're going through, that understands what you're going through, that has the mind to be able to say, if that's what they're doing in Germany, sure, we'll try it.
Right.
And sometimes that takes going through 4 or 5 doctors, right, to see who you resonate with. And then as soon as I resonated with the functional medicine doctor, I knew I was on the right track. I knew that I was finally in the right hands and I could surrender. I wouldn't have to advocate for myself. And let's face it, we live in a country where we have a system where you have to advocate for yourself. If you're dealing with cancer or complicated vector infections like I was, you have to be your own doctor sometimes. So a lot of that was my main motivation. And after I got through a lot of the therapy, it was my functional medicine doctor who actually said, have you ever heard of frequency medicine? And it was about 4 years ago is when I was introduced to frequency medicine. And this is by a frequency healer who is a brilliant man. I still work with him to this day. He works with my family, and he's young. He's written 20 books, and he helps people out of really complicated situations. And I bring that back up, Sarah, because he's the one that really put me over. He's the one that I felt like the bone pain. You asked about my symptoms. A lot of them were cardiac symptoms, bone pain, muscle pain.
Mm-hmm.
When you're experiencing that on all the different levels, it starts to have an effect on your body, especially when your blood is clean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to have an intuitive healer that understands the quantum field and understands how to read your cells, validate everything you're feeling by telling you what pathogens are where. So a lot of my own inner strength to get me through the symptoms, but really, everyone in your corner that you've chosen to be there. And here I am, I'm living my life. I live in California now, and everything is much better.
Yeah. So, one thing I like to do is recap your journey because it's important. And what I love about your journey, just also from the knowledge I know, is you were at a place where what you described in the past to me was kind of at a surrender, not knowing like, I'm doing everything my Western doctor's telling me, and it's still like, it's still keeping me in a crippled position of not progressing forward. And I know there's another way, and it might just require another approach in addition to the balancing of, whatever was prescribed to you and the combination of introducing other types of modalities and eventually figuring out what combination makes the most sense for you. Because what I love about what you shared is that it's a reminder that everyone's individual experience with illness, injury, spirituality, life, it is independent, it is different, it is unique. We might be able to look at common knowledge to help guide us in a direction. However, there are nuances, and feeling safe to advocate for ourselves. I know with me, prior to becoming a healer, going to the doctor was scary for me because I just, whatever the doctor said, I did. And, I, at a very young age, had my gallbladder removed, and I regret that because I feel like I could have healed it in a different way, but I didn't give myself that permission. But at the time I had gallstones that were attacking me, and it was crippling my lifestyle. I was in the ER constantly, and they couldn't track it. And, 3 years of dealing with that, finally got diagnosed with gallstones, and it's hereditary. It runs in my family. And that was 10 years ago. And, I am 38, and I definitely felt like I could have probably adjusted my lifestyle and my eating habits and, the knowledge I have now. Who knows? However, I trust that the decision that was made was best for me. And I also trust that not having a gallbladder is okay for me. And I'm okay with that now. However, it's interesting to hear other ways to explore healing. And, personally speaking, I went through that journey with my sister too. And, she was diagnosed with a pretty harsh condition. And, through her own way of incorporating the Western medicine and, changing her eating habits and really getting into frequency healing, she was able to heal herself in big ways, and, no longer is diagnosed with that energy. So I truly believe that everyone's journey is individual. And, just to echo another thing you said that I thought was pretty relevant too is, given that we're in a pandemic and, there's many different modalities out there. Now the vaccine is widely available, and also it's important to take care of ourselves and, not necessarily rely on one modality, but also be mindful of our own energetic, how we upkeep our energy and take care of ourselves. And to me, frequency is not about, you know, fixing. It's about a tool that's constantly, we are constantly a frequency. And so to use frequency tools is very supportive in different ways. And frequency can be sound, food, vibration, technology, a radio. We're all hearing frequency right now. Here's another frequency for you all. Right? And that feels good. It just is like, huh. And so frequency is such a critical role in our lives every single day. And so if we look at social media, every single image we look at has a frequency.
Yes.
So imagine all those frequencies we're consuming. And some might be positive and some might not be. And that's why having tools to help work with these frequencies that are constantly around us are so crucial. So I'm excited to dive in. You have a plethora of frequency tools you've used over the last 20 years. I know I have some, and then we have one that we use probably every single day and pretty obsessed with. So we're going to definitely dive into that one after the commercial break. But before we cut to break, any part of your journey you would like to just re-emphasize or share that maybe just came to mind that you feel could be relevant for people who, might be at that space of feeling like I'm doing everything I can and I don't feel like I'm progressing forward?
Yeah, I think it's so important to not let the illness define you. That's something that the functional medicine doctor, who I love so much, and she's so dear to my heart, she said, you have this, but this doesn't mean this is your life. This isn't you. And so detaching from that diagnosis, I think, is so important. And then also just believing in yourself and actually visualizing yourself healed. We have so much power in programming what we can manifest, and it's harder to do when you're in a lot of pain. But even through those dark days, just stick with it and know that there's another side, and to think outside the box.
Yeah. That's such a good reminder, because I feel like sometimes when we get diagnosed with something, we immediately go to a deeper state of worry or fear or feeling defeated.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's okay to be there, and, probably necessary. And then we reach a point in time when we feel ready to start exploring and have the energy more so. So, some of these critical illnesses and diseases are absolutely so hard on our bodies. I know, my sister's experience not being able to physically walk, and, needing help to go to the restroom. And she's completely healthy, but she would just have these flare-ups and episodes that would cripple her. And they weren't consistent, but when they happened, she felt defeated. And like you said, when you're in that moment, to visualize yourself better is impossible, but it's okay to be in that moment and remind yourself it does not define you. My sister is such a strong reminder of that. She's always like, nothing defines me. I got through this, and I believe in myself. And, herself, she's just an amazing being. And I see so much of you in her, like the strong woman energy of a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And, given the industry you've been in, the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and, your health challenges that you've overcome, you are definitely an echo of, anything's possible. So whoever's listening, let this be a reminder, no matter where you're at in your life, whether it's dealing with something unknown or a health condition, knowing this is a temporary energy, frequency is always moving, and, whatever's here for us is absolutely guiding us to what's next, and trusting that. And I always say, when there's nothing left we can do in our power, it's the hardest thing we're asked is surrender.
Yes.
But sometimes surrender and trust and faith is all we can do. and it matters. So, when we get back from our break, we're going to dive into some of these tools to introduce you to new concepts and explore frequency in a whole new way. So, we will be back after this short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is Sara Wong, host of Master Your Energy here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And you can catch me here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. to explore the energy around us and talk to like-minded individuals to share their wisdom and experience working with energy in many different ways. Today's guest, Jamie Nelson, is no stranger to energy. Jamie's been working with energy and technology for over 20 years. She also owned an anti-aging clinic in New York. Now that she lives on the West Coast, she uses her platform to expose the vast healing power that energy can have on the mind, body, and spirit. Today, we're exploring all things energy technology and what it's required to shift into a new frequency aligned to our overall goals and health. Let's dive in. And we're back. Jamie, so good to have you on the show today. So we're going to dive into some of the energy tools that we love in terms of working with our own frequency. So if you're just joining, we're diving deep into how to take care of ourselves with new technology, frequency healing, energy, and all things related to, in my opinion, navigating this reality in the best way we know how. So with that, one of the favorite tools that you introduced me to is Healy. And Healy I talked about Healy with Diane in my first episode about a month ago now. And in that episode, we touched high level in the power of Healy, and I thought it would be something to reintroduce today because it is such a relevant tool, especially with frequency, and it's new to the US. It literally is not even a year old in the US, and, I think making itself well known within the healer community. And so you actually are the one that introduced both Diane and myself to Healy. So would love for you to introduce Healy because I love the knowledge you have, not only about the device, but the founders and creators of the technology.
Yeah, sure. It's exciting because it's the first tool available for us in the US that doesn't just read our bodies and get biofeedback. It actually has the ability to read the quantum field as well. So to synergistically do that together, what we have is a product that has 12 patents, 4 pending, and the main one being the quantum sensor. There's actually artificial intelligence built into this tiny little device. I know those of you who are listening can't see, but if anyone's watching, it is the tiniest little device, and they made it this small so it can be worn. And essentially, this is giving us the ability to tune our own instrument. And, being that I had a personal journey with frequency healing, I knew what this was when I was introduced to it. However, when I learned who built it is when I really realized how special this really is. Marcus Schmiedke is the developer and founder of this technology. And just a quick background about him, because I think it's so important. He's the Tesla of our time, Sarah.
I say that all the time. I was like, this guy is the Tesla of our age. If you haven't heard of Marcus, I always say his last name, Shamiki. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so intelligent. Okay, keep going on. But yes, I agree, concur.
I pinch myself, like, when we can learn from him directly, because he is trying to bring the work that Tesla and Einstein were already working on to fruition. And he's definitely a great mind of our generation. And he started studying quantum physics when he was 8 years old. And by the time he was in his 20s, he had written 20 books. So he is a genius himself. But he then went and meditated for about 10 years to really understand what his mission on this planet in this lifetime was. And so where I started to realize how special this was is this wasn't a drug company making this. This was a scientist and a monk who wants to bring healing to the world. His main goal was to heal 100 million people. I mean, that's on paper. And one of the things that Tesla struggled with was, and he died a very depressed man. And he died depressed because he didn't want to just light our rooms. He wanted what he coined free energy. He wanted to bring energy medicine to the world. So this concept of energy medicine really shouldn't be new in 2021.
Yeah.
We should have all been living with this our whole lives. And so essentially, energy, frequency, and vibration are the key to the universe, right? And we know that from Tesla and from Einstein. However, what Marcus did is he figured out how to build technology that had the ability to read the field, read the quantum field, and read our cells. And so we're beings with 50 trillion cells in our body, right? And out of those cells are made up of molecules and made up of atoms. Within those molecules and atoms are particles. The frequencies have a language with the particles. They have a language. They speak back and forth. So if we give our cells the right frequencies, what happens, Sarah, is we have increased protein synthesis. We have increased amino acid transport. We actually have, the way they studied it is the right frequencies, and these are specific frequencies. This isn't just like a microcurrent that you'd put on your body in, a training situation for muscle stimulation. They figured out what frequency works for nerve rehabilitation, and what frequencies work for mental imbalances.
Right.
And before I go further, I will say that this technology is in over 40 countries. And in those countries, it is approved for depression, anxiety, fibromyalgia, pain. And in the United States, it got FDA approval for arthritic pain, which those of us that are familiar with the FDA and our system, that's pretty rad, right?
Yeah, it's great.
They
And it really does. One of the biggest things I use the Healy device for, personally speaking, is pain. Absolutely. Back pain, menstrual pain,
yes.
tooth pain. I've actually had 2 episodes of very severe TMJ, which I don't get often, but when I'm stressed out, I'll grind my teeth and I'll wake up with this like severe pain, almost like I need a root canal.
Mm-hmm.
So I've used the Healy to support in releasing that energy. And, I have tools, I have my modalities, and it has been my proof of pudding that I can constantly go to each time I'm experiencing discomfort and find some type of release on a personal, and that's just me personally speaking about, I've been using this device since May 2020. I'm pretty well versed in it now, and I will say there's the microcurrent and then also the resonance, the analytical side that I'm also using in my everyday life to help understand the energy around me. And that's what you were saying is this technology is built on a very strong foundation. And I love how you introduced it of science and a monk, because it's, to me, that's new earth, is bringing that ancient wisdom and the new technology and not being afraid of it, letting it be an informer, letting it empower us, letting it support us and inform us of our energy and, where we need to potentially prioritize our efforts.
Yes.
So just wanted to add that too, because it's such an important message of what's available now. And this is, to me, one of the most cutting edge discoveries I found personally in the frequency world. I'm constantly seeking out technology for healing. I built my entire practice off of technology and healing. So, it is one of my passions. But I will say with this technology specifically, Marcus and his team are scientists and also, like you said, very connected to the universe, the energetics, how it works. The company itself has so much education. I've learned through frequency doctors that have been doing this work for over 30 years. You were a huge catalyst of that information. And I'm blown away. I'm blown away about learning about the brain. I'm blown away about learning about, even just sacred geometry 369. There's so much there in all of that energy. And I feel like the more I learn about frequency, the more I can navigate what my own challenges are on a personal level. And that's to me what the power of this device can provide if anyone is looking for that type of tool. I call it my virtual Reiki master. It's me, my robot. And this robot is highly sophisticated being that is extremely intuitive. And can you talk about the quantum sensor? Because to me, that's the biggest differentiator from other type of microcurrent devices that are on the market for acupuncture, acupressure, different types of pain management. The thing that I love about this technology is how specific it is, like you mentioned, to the actual frequency output and how it's constantly working with our own energy and the atmosphere we're in many different ways. So you have so much great knowledge about that. Do you mind sharing what you know? And anything to add?
Sure, yeah, it's twofold. Like you said, there's quantum work that you can do with this, and then there's also straight microcurrent for individualized frequent treatment. And I'm actually running it right now. I'm running a universal love program, which,
Beautiful.
yeah. So the quantum sensor is essentially a noise generator that was built into this little square box. Some people think, well, what could that? How could that be a robot? It's so light and it's so little, and millions of dollars went into getting it to this size. And it was built in Germany. And to be able to read the quantum field, they've been doing that for a long time, but with much larger devices, right? Like $40,000-$50,000 devices that mainly quantum physicists and doctors that are interested in this will use. But what coming out of the cave, what this genius decided he wanted to do is he wanted everyone in the world to have their own quantum sensor. Why? To be empowered, like you're saying, to feel empowered, and to feel empowered at a time like this. For Germany and this company to launch in the United States in the middle of a pandemic, they had some serious motivation to get frequency and energy medicine to people that were struggling. Does the Healy treat COVID and treat viruses? No. But when it can give your cells voltage to help your own systems and your own healing, is that going to create a system that will allow you to manage those viruses and those pathogens much easier? Yes. And so the quantum sensor that you ask about comes on the practitioner level. Well, there's a quantum sensor on every level of the Healy, which means if you're wearing the Healy, as all the frequencies are transmitting down from the medical iCloud, the first 9 minutes of wearing this little device on your shirt, it's actually reading your cells and it's deciding what you are resonating with. For example, out of one program, there's probably a couple 100,000 frequencies. So if you run that same program as me, we're getting totally different therapy. So that quantum sensor, what it's doing is it's reading your cells, it's reading the quantum field, and it's making its own decision what would be best to balance not just your physical body, but your spiritual and your emotional health as well. So when you use the practitioner level of this device, you can actually get into homeopathic remedies, which I know you and I have a lot of fun with. You can actually decide, like what Bach flower are you resonating with today? And then provide your body in your own home by yourself with the frequency of that Bach flower. And what happens and what they've studied is that increases the energy output of the cell by 500%. 500%. So back to the 50 trillion cells in our body, if we're taking one cell and giving it that much more voltage, what we can use our imagination in terms of what could happen over time, right? And so we're giving our cells, we all have different cells that are at different points of health. So if you can give it voltage that's going to increase its output of energy by 500%, you can really bring a cell back to life, right?
And you've seen this with your 20 years of experience working with laser technology. I'm sure you've also seen cell rejuvenation at a visible level,
That's
you
all we did.
know,
Yeah, we
and
traumatized the skin. Yes.
so when this technology was introduced to you, you're like, "Oh, I get it. It's just an invisible laser, but it's, it's in a much, in my opinion, a much it's a integrated approach. It's very relaxing, it's to me, it's calming. I even like, sometimes you can feel the actual current come through,
Mhm.
and I love it. Like, I love it. I love it so much. And maybe that's weird, but, I just feel like it's doing something really good.
Not
And,
weird.
and you can control what I love about the technology. It's super intuitive. It's made for everyone, regardless of where you're at. And it's, really just a tool. My mom, just got a device, and she's really loving it. She's, has chronic vertigo and some other pain on her knee, and she's saying already she feels like she's sleeping better, and whenever she feels that pain, she uses it and finds release. So it's just so nice. Also, I love the fact that you have the microcurrent device that you can get, and then you have so many different levels and integration. And, wherever you're at in your journey, it's, especially if technology and healing with technology is foreign to you, there's, an opportunity to go deeper, and you can definitely learn more about Healy. If you're like listening to this conversation, you're like, wait a minute, I want, what is this? I want to learn more. This is intriguing. Feels like a good tool that I could benefit from. You can check out Energy Haus LB. That's Energy Haus Long Beach, so lb.com. And in that, you can sign up for a free 20-minute consultation where myself or someone on the team will walk you through the Healy and answer all your questions, and, really see if it's a fit for you based on your needs. So, if that is something you're interested in, please check out energyhauslb.com. And that's Energy Haus, HAUS, the German way. Long story there, but it's, I love it. And energyhauslb.com. So check that out. And there's also a link to an interactive presentation. You would just fill out your first name, last name, and put in your email. And that you can then choose your own journey. You can learn about the founders, you can learn about the technology, you can learn about, if you're a healer or, interested in this line of field for distribution. The thing I love about Healy is only distributed with healers and people that are in this field and resonate with this type of technology and can help people build a relationship with it. So it's a very beautiful journey. And, I like it because for me and my clients that use it, we all have a tool we can use every single day in different ways. So with that, anything else you want to add? We have a few more minutes last to like recap the benefits of Healy, or any other tools that you've used along your journey, or anything else you want to add about frequency healing.
Oh, there's so much to say, right? We could talk
Yeah.
about this. I love that you brought up the point of it's my little laser, because, some people will say to me, oh, that sounds cool. Like, will it tighten my skin? And they actually have frequencies for anti-aging. So yes, but it's a little tool at home that can allow you to achieve your aesthetic goals, but most importantly, physical, emotional, and spiritual. It can actually raise your vibration without you having to do anything. I had a healer say to me once, it feels like I meditated 4 hours and I'm 20 minutes in. And so to be able to have that type of tool at home right now,
Yeah.
is so important. And I just want to touch quickly on the money behind the company because I think it's so important. I mentioned Tesla died a depressed man, and that was because he was backed by JP Morgan Chase, he really wanted to create the system we have today, right? He didn't want this concept of free medicine, didn't resonate with JP Morgan Chase. Marcus was able to bring this to the world because of a gentleman by the name of Christian Halper, and he is also a monk himself. He was big into cryptocurrency. He owned a big hedge fund in Europe. So he's a well-established, respected businessman, but he wanted to heal the world and to hand Marcus $100 million to be able to bring all of this to the world. Like I said, I pinch myself, the science is there. There's no question the science is there, but the logistics and the resources have to be behind it. So these gentlemen together, I feel like have blessed us with a tool that's going to take us into the future with technology, using technology in a positive way, right? I think we're all on our phones too much. We're all Zooming too much. And to be able to get on the ground, remove the rubber from between our bodies and the earth. And then when you're ready, use the technology to feed your cells. So I think that that's the most exciting part.
Yeah, and I love that it actually is something people can buy today. It's not just you have to go see someone. It's a device you can actually buy for yourself and get guidance on how to properly use it for your own needs. And then you go on your journey. Like I always say, enjoy the journey. It's truly a healing journey. There's so much, like you said, it's a spiritual process. It's connecting to your energy and frequencies, and each level offers, even just starting at the most basic level is the best starting point. And then you'll go from there and you'll know how much more you want to add into your energetic journey and own, relationship to energy. And to me, it's a really fascinating tool that, you're right, came out during a very crucial time that I think, anyone open to can find some type of benefit from, whether it's support with sleeping, depression, anxiety, immunity. There's endless benefits. And one thing I will say from my personal journey with it is it took a while to build a relationship to the technology, and in that journey uncovered a lot for myself in terms of what I was open to. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, is we're in that equinox time of renewal and new beginnings. And, maybe there are other tools out there wherever you're at that could support you to allow you to move forward. And it might not be technology. It might just be, reevaluating what you eat, reevaluating where you work, reevaluating who you're with. It's, wherever that new beginning is showing up with that discomfort or that nudge of it's time to evolve. I invite you in this week, especially to dive into that, give yourself permission to explore what that is for you. And of course, if you're looking for additional tools, you can connect with Jamie, you can connect with myself. And with that, Jamie, thank you for being on the show today. I so appreciate you and your energy and all your knowledge and wisdom. And with that, have a beautiful day.
Thanks.
I'll see you next week at 4 p.m. Namaste. Thanks for tuning in to Master Your Energy here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And I'm your host, Sara Wong. It is always my honor to join you every Tuesday to explore the energy all around us and connect to like-minded individuals to share their stories, wisdom, and how we can relate to this ever-changing human experience. And if you're looking for more tools or information for any of the topics we discussed during the show, you can check out the website energyhauslb.com. That's energyhaus And if you're wanting to explore this Healy device even more, then you can set up a free 20-minute consultation to see if this device can serve your needs and to gain knowledge and insights on what it can truly provide for your overall health and wellness. I look forward to connecting, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 4 p.m. here on KCAA Radio.